There are some things in life that happen, and some of them require a response, some of them not so much. Over time, we at Too Strong have covered quite a few cases, quite a few stories, and people, because that's, well, what we do. Today, we're going to be talking about another individual that has a major, large following, and we've noticed a trend. Now, the thing that they do is selling. Let's not get this twisted. We understand that gossip can sell, and sometimes what you say, how you say, also sells. This individual sells a lot. And I don't mean tickets and I don't mean stories, but I mean the way she presents stuff. Yes, it's a she, carries well to certain audiences. We have tried to have an audience with this individual to no avail. But we've also noticed one very disturbing pattern that we must address. Now, the other person that we're talking about will not address a certain situation to do with the content we're talking about, which also gave us pause. What are we talking about and who? The one and only Tasha K. Now, y'all might know her because of her loud and boisterous behavior and the way that she addresses things. So, well, what's the best way to put this? Ratchet? Like, yes, I guess we'll call it that for lack of a better term. That sells. People like the over the top theatrics that she does. And let's just be honest, if it's making you money, why stop? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? However, the trend we've noticed that must be addressed is that when it comes to children. Now, we're not talking about the kinds of stuff that we normally cover here. We're not saying that Tasha K is in any way, shape, form, or fashion a person that deals nefariously with children. That is not what we're saying. What we are saying is that it almost seems as though she finds some sort of a um, not pleasure or joy, but there's a niche for her with regards to treating children a certain way, especially those that are not hers. Although we have questions about that as well. At the time we were covering the Othello story, as those you might remember, the trafficking of his son, we had reached out to Tasha K and asked her, because she has such a major platform and reach, if she would please amplify this story. We were met with quite a brick wall. Nope, can't do that, not touching that one. I understand that your niche is not that, so we kind of partially played it off as well. She just doesn't want to get involved in that. But that seemed to fall through when she had her, what would you call it, clash with Jaguar Wright? And proceeded to bring children into the conversation and argument. So there wasn't a problem necessarily with tackling children. We saw the problem then become, I don't want to talk about that case because it won't be the kind of things that I have picked. Now, at first, we thought, well, maybe, this is us giving her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it is such a deep rooted, painful topic that she can't touch it. It is too close to home, or maybe it is something that one, my audience may not like, or it is just too egregious to talk about. But then we saw an interview. The interview she did with Jaguar Wright's son, estranged son. And it caused us to look a little bit deeper into this person of Tasha K. Now, what we found, yes, could be possibly rumor, could be possibly untrue, but the fact that she did not address it as being unequivocally false gave us pause. Jaguar Wright, and amongst other people, have also talked about her not being able to take care of her own kids, and they seem to be apart from the family in Africa. Validity to it? Not quite sure, but it's being blasted across the internet. She has not addressed that topic. But she is quick to go to jump into Jaguar's rights affairs when it comes to her child. Now, the interview is up for everyone to see, but what we saw was quite disturbing. The boy seems to have some issues. I'm not going to quantify them as either autistic, Asperger's, or abuse, not quite sure which, but he does not seem to function properly in public arenas. He seems to come across as somewhat intelligent, but the terms and words that he uses are not really placed well in the statements he's trying to make. Some of them don't even belong in the sentence structure he's trying to make, but they do sound very, very, very intelligent, even though it's not. But in the process of him describing things, the one thing we notice is that he speaks an awful lot like his mom. And Tasha K had this one strange interaction with it. And as he was speaking about what he thought about his mother, where he separated her, the entity of Jacqueline, from the other entity of Jaguar, Tasha K broke out in some hilarity type laughter, like almost mocking laughter.
I gotta tell you something though, for real.
Well, I'm going to go to hell if I'm laughing. I'm laughing. Now, you asked the man to come on, and he is a man now, he's in his 20s. You asked the man to come onto your platform to discuss his mother. You obviously don't have a good rapport with her, but you felt the need, if it is true that this kid either has some sort of a mental issue or at the least been abused emotionally by both parents, in either situation, the laughing at him was so disgustingly inappropriate that we had to think that possibly Jaguar and the rest of the people talking about her inability to take care of her own kids might be true, which would also lend credence to why she did not want to push the message out about an adult man trying to save his own child from trafficking. There may be some sort of a deep-rooted issue with Tasha K when it comes to children in general. Our take: social media is more important. Yep, I said it. Clout, way more important. Popularity, way more important. The boisterous behavior, way more important than the children that she espouses. In some way, she has them that she takes care of. Now, hear me out. Does the fact that she doesn't want to cover a story mean directly that she doesn't care about the life of children? No. But you cannot say then that we cannot ask questions about it when we see red flags. Everything gets ignored at a small level before it becomes something massive. This is a story of life going on from the time it began to the time it will end. Many people ignore the small red flags, little red herrings, and then before too long, issues are becoming massive. Again, we are not saying that Tasha K abuses children. We're not saying that at all. But what we are saying is that she disregards them. They're not as important as clout, not as important as numbers or money. In fact, she will easily throw a child into the fight that she's having with an adult if it means, in the public eye, she wins. I'm not sure whether or not she's intentionally doing this. Can't say. But I know for a fact she can't not see that. I know for a fact it is visually there in her mind and in front of her on screen when she goes back to look at it. You can blatantly see there is a shade where she can use children in drama and not care if it benefits her. Money is one thing, making ends meet is another, and being known, everybody might want to do that. But at the expense of other people's children and not really caring about where they are is deplorable. We watched that interview, and regardless of what you think about Jaguar Wright, Jaguar Wright is not her son, and her son is not her. Tasha K treated that boy as though he was her, condescendingly speaking down to him while halfway praising his intelligence, mocking in the middle of the interview by laughing at him, and placating to whatever issue he has. Why? In an effort to rile up Jaguar Wright simply because of internet beef. Now, I'm not quite sure if that is something that most of you in the audience might be like, oh, it's just how internet things go. But for us, nah. There comes a point where you have to draw a line, and we've drawn this line. This is not right now a matter of we're trying to get Tasha K to respond. We don't care if she responds or not. This is not about her response to this. This is about shedding light on something that has become so pervasive throughout social media that all the large influencers seem to be using it as a tactic now. When in doubt about somebody, go after their kids. That'll draw them out. That'll really get their attention. In fact, especially the bigger the person they are, the more you go after the kids. Meanwhile, if it is true that she ain't taking care of hers, she has some cojones to be doing that. If it is true that your kids are in Africa not being taken care of by you while you're over here sipping wine and getting high on celebrity clout, it says more about you being a parent than it does Jaguar. For all her issues, at least she still wants to be in the kid's life and is there. If the other part is true, we can't say the same about you, can we, Tasha? We also can't say the same about your inability and or your ability to pay debts. Kind of like that $1 million or $4 million suit that Cardi B that you're trying to evade paying. You know, when people show you a character flaw, you can usually see it repeated, maybe not in the exact same way, but you can see it repeated throughout their life in various different applications. Tasha K seems to have a running theme going through her life. Avoid responsibility. If you do it with $4 million, I can kind of start to believe that you might abandon your kids to somebody else to take care of while you make your money. Oh, that you say you don't have, of course.
Don't ask me for no money. I ain't got it. But listen.
We find that kind of interesting. A lot interesting. I know this is not being bitter. What this is trying to understand why that interview would even cross your mind to do in the manner you did it. I don't mind you asking the kid questions about how his mom was and what the situation was like, but for you to break down in the kind of hyena-ish laughter that you did in the middle of it is absolutely mind-boggling.
Do some corny. I gotta tell you something though, for real.
Look, I understand that your behavior is natural to you, that particular type of thing comes natural to you. Maybe the person you are on screen is exactly the person you are off screen, and the only difference is one, you wear makeup and the other you don't. That might be the only difference. I'm not saying that the makeup helps you. I'm just saying that there might be the only difference is the makeup. But to aim it at somebody who could have possibly been abused by both sides of the family, whether it happened or not, but the kid seems to be expressing some sort of trauma that either happened or some sort of mental decline, disability that he may have, and you used that. No, you abused that. You, the person who should be shedding light on a situation, used the fact that you were so upset at another woman that you drug her children into it just to prove a point. That goes far beyond petty. That passes petty and goes beyond a destructive behavior. But then again, it's par for the course for you because it sells. The outlandish, loud, boisterous behavior, par for the course for you. So why would bring someone kids be any different? That would be the next reasonable step for you. And if we can see that on camera, and we can hear people mentioning stuff moving around in the rumor mill, it almost becomes a possibility now that it may be true. Compiled on top of the fact that you don't talk about it at all, not address it, not shut it down, none of that. Yeah, I don't know. We might be leaning about 60 to 70% that they might be telling the truth, and you're trying your best to deflect from it by bringing other people's kids into it. That might be more along the lines of truth than anything else that you could possibly do. In fact, I don't know if you even came out and talked about it, we'd believe you. After that stunt, come on now. There has to be some, okay, I understand that the internet, you might say there's no lawfare out there. All rules can be broken. It's different. It's not like the news and it's not like anything else. Everything's fair. Is it? Is everything fair? So suppose then, if everything is fair, do we have limits that we shouldn't and should go to? I'm sure, I'm 100% sure that if indeed, Tasha K, you hold this viewpoint that everything is fair, I highly doubt that you'd want anybody for a long period of time interviewing your children. I highly doubt that. I think you would find a massive thorn in your side because of that. But of course, the shoe is on the other foot, so that's different. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I really don't know. But as men, and we will speak as from men, fathers, I don't understand why one She's allowed to do this. I understand, yes, the kid is an adult. I get that. But as someone in her life, any man around there doesn't say to her, that ain't a good look. We probably shouldn't do that. But then again, it'll probably be a man who is not really a man that's around her tells her that you shouldn't cover that other story about the kidnapped children either. Because it might hit too close to home, Tasha, maybe? You might fit the mold too closely? Could it be that you refused that story because it kind of mirrored your own, but yours was intentional and theirs was somebody else doing it to them? I'm just speculating since you won't talk and it's been out in the public light and what we do is cover public stuff. We can speculate. You can feel free to clarify this for us, of course. I mean, you're in everybody else's children's business. Why can't we be in yours? I mean, you're out there talking about everybody else's children. Where are yours? What are yours doing? Are they in Africa? Did you pawn them off on some tribe to see if they can raise them better than you can? Is the drinking getting too much? Did they notice that? Were they starting to speak about it in school? Or was it that fame was just outweighing everything else and you couldn't be bothered with children? And the mere fact that somebody else was trying to make sure that their child was looked after in spite of their mental problems, that you got jealous. Heck, even mad. We saw the interview you did with her, and it was heated. You were talking over each other. And I noticed something about your face, though, Tasha. I did notice this. And I noticed this about you often. And I don't know, again, I don't know if you do this on purpose, but it happens too often for it not to be. When you are trying to goad somebody into something, the look you give them is this.
Cedar, you said Cedar Hill,
Cedar
Texas,
Hill.
with Jaguar, your mom.
Yeah.
You give them this, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Almost as though you're making them feel insignificant to what you're talking about. And as they're telling you their plight, you act as you're the innocent one. Knowing the questions you're asking and suggesting on topics is going to rile them up. And in some cases, make you laugh at them.
You have your mother's gift of storytelling.
It's your MO, it's your tactic. It's not a good one. I would suggest this to you. I understand that your audience is far bigger than ours. I get that. And what you've been doing has worked. But you do come across as though you're the kind of person that no one should ever talk to, especially if they have children. Who knows what you might go and find? Who knows? You might end up one day talking about somebody's children without their permission on your platform. Because you disagree with them, or they called you out on something, or you just have beef. We're only going based on what we see, Tasha. This ain't us speculating to the point where we don't know. We have information that you've given, people have given, you haven't clarified on, and behaviors we've observed with our own two eyes. They ain't lying to us. The bigger issue here is this, that there are people out there eating this up. You're not contributing to the rise of society. You're contributing to the destruction of it. And you're doing it with a glass of wine in hand and grinning all the way. And you think somehow you're being a benefit to society. No, you're not. Of no value are you right now to society. It's still good to your pocketbook. I get it. And heck, it's a business. I ain't dogging you for running your game because people are buying it. But you can't, on one hand, try to get to the bottom of somebody's disgruntlement with their parents and I wish it would work, while at the same time benefiting from the destruction of it. Let me ask a question. What have you done to try and reconcile that boy to his mom? You know what? You wouldn't do that because you hate the mama. You don't want him getting back in any good graces with his mom. You just want to have all the dirt that he can possibly spill so you can use it later at the expense of the boy. At the expense of someone who has been split between homes, even in the middle of his conversation with you, which I saw you just glide right past. You didn't even touch on this. Again, we observed some stuff. He told you that it felt at times that he didn't have a place to call his own. He was torn between two places. That would have been a prime opportunity to ask the man specifically, how really did that make you feel? Like, was there anyone on either side trying to rectify that feeling in you? Did you take it to any? You never even remotely addressed that. Right? Well, I know what you might, but you sound exactly like your mama. You guys tell the same kind of stories. Woo, man, your guys are good. He just finished telling you that he didn't feel at home in either place. How do you know that was a compliment to him? How do you know that probably what that's the, and I look, I'm fully sure you know this, but I'm betting that you knew that compliment would have gone across and burned him a little bit, considering the fact that he was not speaking on his best ways about Jaguar. You told him he's acting like Jaguar because he told you specifically there is a difference in his mind between Jacqueline and Jaguar. He loves Jacqueline. He loves his mom. The only person you've ever met is Jaguar. You just insulted him and degraded him by telling him he acts like the one person he's calling out on your program? What kind of trash is that? How trash of a human being do you have to be like that? But then again, it's par for the course for you. You have nothing better to offer. You thrive on the indecency that you put out, and you also thrive on the heartache that you cause. You have no desire to see society grow. You have no desire to see people reconcile. You just want the dirt, you want the tea, you want the sauce. Because it sells. At this point, you're no different than a war hawk or a drug dealer. You don't care if it destroys the person you're selling it to. You're making money, right? That's all you care about. Making that dough. You said you're going to have this thing about you're going to show everybody, surviving Jaguar Wright. You hyped that crap up for months only to charge people to see it. What, money? YouTube ain't giving you enough? You got to get that extra on top of it. I thought this was about making people aware of something. No, it's not. It's always been about lining your pocketbook. Again, the hustle is your hustle. But please don't ever come across trying to tell people, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this. No, all you're trying to do is create drama to drum up more drama to make more money. They used to have a term for that, but I'm not going to call it out just yet. But there were tons of talk shows that used it. Ricky Lake, Maury, Jerry Springer, that kind of stuff, your wheelhouse. But hey, again, you're doing it because people are buying it. So let me address the audience now. Why? Why, when you see this kind of stuff, I get that you guys talk about it in the comment section and you call her out there, but you still stay. Knowing full well she ain't even listening to y'all. She's been doing this stuff for years now. She ain't listening to none of y'all. She don't care what the audience says as long as the money keeps going and the subs keep going up. I can hear someone saying that, but y'all do it too. Y'all talk about this, y'all is this, y'all and y'all. Okay, let me ask you one very important question, those that might talk like that. You name us one time we've ever used a child as leverage over somebody. I'll wait. In fact, I'll make sure I wait with bated breath. I'll hold my breath. Now I might die, because you know what? You'll never come with a receipt on that. You're never going to find us doing that. The one thing we've prided ourselves in is this: receipts, and we do talk, and for children that can't and don't have people to speak for them. You cannot go back anywhere in Too Strong's history and find any, and I mean any instant where we've done the opposite of those two things. Every time we've spoken about either a celebrity, a situation, a president, of someone, any importance, we've always brought this one important thing back to it. If the children are being harmed, we snitching. And we'll never use a child as a pawn. Never have we done that. We've emphasized the role of the man at every point and turn that we could. We've emphasized family at every point and turn that we could. You cannot say that about Tasha K. That's ratchet. All ways that you look at it, it's ratchet. And again, that might be fine, but the instant you decide to use your clout on kids for fodder, yeah, we gonna say something. We'll say something. And you can get mad and be mad and mention or not mention us all you want. We're still gonna say what we're saying because it's what we observe. We have observed something about you that's telling and that's upsetting. for your ends to become reality, you're more than willing to use children to do it. Use people's offspring to do it. It doesn't even matter the age. That would be you. And that makes you one of the lowest levels of human beings. And the mere fact that you won't even address your own tells us even more. The fact that you won't have on the platform size that you have, and for all the black this and black that and black the other that you talk about all the time, you won't even help the black child that was trafficked to find justice, tells me even more about you. You are a grifter. You have no concern about the black community. You don't give a damn about the black community. You'll watch them suffer. You'll use the kids for your own means to an end. That's what you do. You're the kind of person that Malcolm X warned about. That'd be you. The kind that would infiltrate the black community just to destroy it from the inside out. Use the mantle, destroy the community. Do nothing to advance it. Not a thing. There's no benefit to your program, no lesson to be learned, just gossip and whine. Oh, and the occasional abuse of other people's kids. What an amazing legacy you're leaving behind. That tombstone will read amazingly. I was here, I abused, and I went back. Amazing. To everyone else who watches her, we ain't telling you what to or not to do. We're simply showing you the side that we've seen. And yes, we have tried to have a conversation. Ain't worked. And it's okay. Everyone has the right to either decide to talk or not. But what you can't tell us is not to say something after we've tried. But what has become abundantly clear is this. That kind of behavior is what's selling today in society, which is why she's at the 1 million+ mark. Whenever you try to instill something of a moral ground, something to do with the family, something to do with the upliftment positively of a society, won't go anywhere. But man, bring some wine out and start cussing and screaming and acting like some kind of fool and using other people as fodder. Money, sales, views, you name it. Well, not here. Not here. Won't happen. Will never happen here. And we'll call it out every time we see it. You know why? Because whether people believe Jaguar Wright's insane or not, whether you like her or you don't like her, that's still her son. And whatever she has been through that made her the way she is now and pushed her the direction she has been, she still has lost one already, and she is losing another. The father had an interview, and he was quick to toss her under the bus too, without even taking any kind of responsibility on himself. He didn't want none of that. I did everything right. I did this and I did that, and I have the money. If he wanted to come back, he decided to go back and give in to her delusions. But I don't talk bad about her to him. But here you are on screen talking bad about her. You're a liar, bro. You just as bad. Just fess up that you did dumb stuff too. He in the interview talked about you too. About getting tossed out of a hotel for acting a fool. Here you are on somebody else's screen acting like holier than thou. Own up. You played a part in your son's destruction too. It wasn't just the mom. You played a part, bro. Just admit that you'd had a hand in how your son turned out. Good, bad, and indifferent. You're not the saint in this. The person that's really damaged in all of this is that boy. Whether he has autism, Asperger's, or abuse, or he's just an introvert trying to strike out, an artist. I'm an artist too. I was also introverted. He shares traits of just about every bit of two different things, either abuse or autism. The father said, well, you was never diagnosed with it because, we had to do this and we had to do that and we had to do. Yeah, but you have done nothing to break the kid out of the shell. You seem very well spoken. You seem very outgoing. For somebody who did all that good, you'd talk a whole lot about him flunking out of school. So where did you learn that from? Oh, that's all Jaguar, right? Not you. No, of course not. No. The trait of a man, let me give you some info, okay? Oh, let me give you some advice. The real trait of a man is knowing what he's done wrong and correcting it. Not saying he did nothing, absolutely nothing wrong, and blaming everybody else. That's the son of a sissy, not a man. I said it. Own up to what role you did in the destruction of your child's view of his mom and his life, and maybe we'll get somewhere. Jaguar's already said that she's done plenty of things wrong. Look, regardless of what you think about the lady, at least she's admitted wrong. She's admitted that. The other two, Tasha K and no, you won't hear that from them. No, they'll keep using the clout and the destruction of that child's life to their benefit. You might say we're not judging it correctly, then prove us wrong. Prove our point of view wrong or shut up. We have two eyes for a reason. Things are observable. This is not hearsay. You can go and look at each of the things we've talked about and see if we're wrong. And I guarantee you're not going to see it any different. For all intents and purposes, y'all might think we're doing this again for clout. We're doing this as a job. First of all, yes, it's a job. But most importantly, the overarching thing that we've always done this program for is one very important thing: to save the nuclear family. We saw a massive break in it. We saw some destructive stuff happening, both from the side of Hollywood, the entertainment industry and music, everywhere, cartoons, you name it, we saw it, and we knew we had to say something. And we did it to the detriment of the channel sometimes. Every time we spoke about the welfare of children, all these people that came talking about, we care about the kids, y'all were nowhere to be seen for those videos. They never got shared and they never got seen. Bring up something about some gossip, everybody's in the room. But we never stuck to the gossip simply because of numbers. We kept talking about the kids. We did that. We have a track record of that. What we don't have is a track record like Tasha K, using other people's pain for profit. That's snake behavior. And again, you can say what you want, but until you can prove us wrong on this take, you can shut all the way up.